Dads of Reddit, why do you act differently to your daughters once they hit puberty? Yeah, I remember this. I used to sit on Dad's recliner with him, and my stepsister would sit on my stepmom's. We watched movies and such. It was a bonding thing. Once I started bleeding, that was out. But I was still a child in mindset and was profoundly hurt by that. I didn't understand why. My daughter hitting puberty only made us closer. My wife was the one who started treating her different. Really started writing her about her appearance and how she acted, etc. I just let her be herself and made sure she knew I had her back. Speaking as a dad, I never realized this was a thing, but from reading the comments, it sometimes is. That sounds so sad and inexplicable to me. Just to offer a counterpoint, my daughters were 11 and barely 13 when my wife passed away. Imagine my confusion standing in the feminine products aisle of CVS the first time trying to figure out which of 100 possible products to get. I ended up calling the adult daughter of a friend, the friend herself being long past purchasing such items, to ask for advice. My girls have grown to be strong young women now, and we are all as close as ever. Depends on Dad's sensibilities and how he was raised. He may feel like a creeper once his little girl starts to look and act like a woman. I have boys, but remember being a little awkward like this with my niece when she got older. You worry about wrestling or tickling or cuddling because of what others might think, or that you might actually touch something wrong. I got over it. My niece is 17 now, and I'll still roughhouse with her. And if heaven forbid I accidentally bump into a boob, I just yell, "Get your boobs off me, woman!" And we both laugh. Sometimes it's just hard to adjust to the changes. I've always been close with my daughter, now 15. Her needs have changed, sure, but we haven't grown apart. I'm not sure why a father would push his kids away. I heard a story one time about a woman whose dad distanced himself from her once she started developing. Her analysis was that he didn't really know how to interact with women except as sexual objects are, at least with their attractiveness in mind. And he knew this would be inappropriate with his daughter. So his solution was to kind of push her away. Definitely not a thoughtful or ideal response, but it was the reason for it. Why can I picture a disappointed old Asian man so vividly in my head? I'm from Pakistan, and from what I hear, this is going to get disturbing. Moms start getting their daughters to distance themselves from all male family members around age 10. For rapey reasons. Learning how many women have been assaulted by cousins, brothers, fathers, uncles really disturbed me. Asian American female here. Honestly, my dad and I never really had a great relationship cause he came to the States in his 20s. He was a weird mix of a stereotypical Asian dad but also not. Very much the engineer who pushed us to do better. Almost to a huge fault. He and I didn't really talk about puberty, but I was very much able to be like, "Hey, I'm going to the store for pads, painkillers, etc." And he never flinched or made some uncomfortable comment. Now as I've gotten older, I'm 30 now, my relationship with my dad is way different. I'm by no means telling him about the depth of the struggles of having a period or puberty in general, but he will have a conversation with me about periods or women's rights. Like with the whole abortion thing going on with the US government. I got very lucky that my dad, despite never bringing it up himself, never looked at me differently and will engage if I were to bring it up. I think culturally Asian dads do have a weird thing cause Asian cultures are very gendered in. There is a huge pressure for the female in different ways. But individually it could be a different thing. He could just be unsure of how to proceed cause he himself doesn't know how to talk about puberty or periods without the shame of them. I'm thinking it's a cultural thing. Also Asian BTW. I don't have sisters, but I do recall my mom telling stories about how my gramps' attitude changed once she got older. I'm sure some of this has to do with them realizing you're growing up. One day you're a little kid and they've still got a lot to teach you. And then next you're almost an adult and independent. My dad started acting a lot differently around me when I turned 20. I think he realized that I had finally grown up. I was forming my own opinions, charting my own course, making my own mistakes, etc. And our relationship was different from then on. I think it may be a cultural thing, but at the same time there are changes between the parent-child dynamic when the child starts becoming an adult that are very natural. Now this doesn't sound like that, but I do think that parents need time to reconcile that their little baby is becoming an adult, and puberty is a pretty drastic step towards that. Prior to puberty, kids growing up is a lot more gradual, whereas the changes after puberty begins are pretty sudden. I look so much like my mother that when I began to develop quite early, everything changed. He drunkenly groped my breast thinking I was her. We don't have a great relationship. As a father of two wonderful 20-something daughters, I can't even begin to get my head around this mentality. The day I stop telling them I love them more than anything. Bury me 'cause I'm dead. Man, a lot of you sound like great dads. Wish I had that. Mine just wanted to touch me and gawk at me like a piece of meat when I hit puberty. Fuck, I hate that man. It absolutely breaks my heart to hear so many young ladies sharing similar experiences of coming to age and being pushed away by their fathers. My daughter is the light of my life. I don't always understand what she's going through, or how to best meet her needs. But I'm trying my best to support her, and I hope she knows I will always be there for her no matter what. She's growing into an incredible woman and deserves nothing but my absolute admiration for the way she's handling her changing world. I'm lucky to have her in my life. If anybody needs a dad for a minute, hit me up. I'm so proud of all of you. Not a dad, but my father would never use Reddit, and I feel this answer should be shared. My daddy was a police officer. He saw a lot of children who had been abused. When I came of age, he distanced himself, and I think it's because he was low-key traumatized by what he'd seen and wanted there to be no shadow of a doubt that he did not sexualize his baby girl. I was hurt by him no longer giving full body hugs or allowing me under the covers with him when we watched TV. But now I understand. I know this is anecdotal, but I'm a white American and I had this exact same experience growing up. So I don't think this can be dismissed as a cultural thing. And like I hit puberty really young. 9. So I was very much still a child. I'm 35 now, and at this point I'm just used to not having a relationship with my dad. I don't think my daughter hitting puberty had any effect on our relationship. I love watching her grow and mature into an amazing young woman. One thing that does happen about that time is that parents expect you to act more mature. But sometimes our expectations can get ahead of your development. So sometimes I have to remind myself that she's not an adult and give her more time to make mistakes as she grows. I have an acquaintance who told me that when he hit puberty, his dad handed him a box of condoms and told him to have as much sex with girls as possible before marriage. When his sisters hit puberty, his dad held a gun to their heads and told them if they ever had sex out of wedlock he would kill them.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.